Excuse me. It's a good way to start. Early morning video. Knock it out right quick. I want to talk about something I've noticed for a while, but it's something that I think is interesting. The use of German propaganda, or Nazi propaganda, if you really want to put it that way, used during World War II. All that Die Deutsche Wochenschau footage and all that stuff, whether it's colorized or whether it's, whatever. And that footage and who uses it. In the days before, what was it? 2016, 2017, when YouTube purged any video pretty much with any of that footage, for the most part. Certain channels that weren't, that bowed down, or maybe they said, please don't take down my video, YouTube. I'm a good lib or whatever. Apart from that, most of that was disappeared. Most of that was just deleted, never to see the light of day again. Of course, most of it was already downloaded and uploaded on Odyssey or wherever else. I'm gonna upload this anyway, I don't even care. But, now who is using that footage? Usually it's lefties, ironically. And the use of the Hakenkreuz, or the swastika, if you want to use it that way, is used more and more by lefties. It's funny that Vosh is now using the swastika more and more in his videos to as bait, in my opinion. Where it's like Trump is giving a Nazi speech, and on the thumbnail it's got the swastika on the hat, on his red hat. You have you have Michael Tracy, showing that he's really a Nazi underneath and stuff like that. Like it's a mask off, and it's just fire with a swastika right in the middle of what would be presumably his forehead. And I say to myself, it's interesting. This is interesting to show kind of how censorship is in the modern day. That, we're going to care about it, we're going to really worry about it, but then eventually, we're too lazy to move on with it, and eventually things are relaxed. Same thing has happened with YouTube's policy towards using copyrighted music or copyrighted videos, unless somebody's really careful about it and somebody's really pissy about it, and they scroll the internet and they are hardcore looking for folks who are using their footage and will copyright strike you, then chances are you're going to be alright today. There's a time when you just automatically, boom, no, flagged. So it's interesting the way censorship works and how YouTube is. The thing is that YouTube, I'll put it this way as well. Let me wrap up with this. Is the idea that YouTube is going to be replaced by any platform, I think is ridiculous. I think that there's just a lot of things that are on YouTube that you just won't see ever again, Whether it's like Red Samurai 84's channel, where he's posting the full footage of, these Soviet funerals of Konstantin Chernyenko and things like that. Or, these old documentaries from Nuclear Vault, their YouTube channel and whatnot. And I say this because they're genuinely just interesting to see. or, just various footage that you just won't see anywhere else. I don't even say that like I'm promoting YouTube. I'm just saying that as Odyssey, BitChute, the various live stream platforms like Trovo or DLive or Rumble are never going to fully replace YouTube. People say, "Oh, fuck YouTube. I'm going to go on Rumble. Come follow me there," and whatnot. But it's like, and I do have a Rumble account, but I don't. It's just not my thing, really. It's more of a boomer magapede place to go. To me, at the end of the day, oh yeah, it's the same thing with Cozy.tv, right? And of course, people have been called out for, what's going on with Cozy.tv, but, my point is with censorship and the use of, for example, this Nazi footage, I think there was something like 755 Die Deutschen Wochenschaus that exist, and that goes back to UFA Films as well, before it became just straight Die Deutsche Wochenschau. In the early days, for those that have seen most of that footage, you'll see that, it used to be called just UFA Films, especially in the Polish campaign. And you'll see in the Polish campaign and in the French campaign, in, Fall Gelb, you'll see, them talking to the, the various, like, French soldiers or something like that, and, it is what it is. It was effective at the time in terms of propaganda. But I think it's interesting the way that footage is used and how it's portrayed. Like I say, nowadays, of course, you can have the, some channels who will show different. Now, the difference is nowadays is that most of Hitler's speeches are gone. Most of it, and then the stuff that does have Hitler speeches has a lot of commentary on it. In particular, I was thinking of, I can't think of the name of the channel offhand, but they're talking, it was showing Munich before and after. This and that, and they had a brief snippet of a Hitler speech, and then was immediately like, in German, they're like, "That's enough propaganda," and then, continued on talking about the evils of Nazism and everything else. I think that, it's interesting how that sort of propaganda is still valued, and it's still, and Goebbels and Hitler and everything else are kind of laughing to a point, because they're still using this propaganda. It's still that effective. They're still using it. That's the whole thing. Of the ultimate evil. I think it's always, it's fascinating to me how that footage just keeps coming back around. It'd be 200, 300 years later, and chances are somebody will find a way to have found, some footage or something like that of Hitler's speech and whatnot. Someone's going to find a thumb drive, and somebody's going to find a way to adapt that thumb drive, and they're going to be like, holy shit, Anyway, I think it's interesting, nonetheless, the use of that footage and, just how censorship works. But anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed that. See you later. Goodbye.